Oh, welcome to Blockchain Basement. On today's episode, we're going to talk about how we're all going to get rich in 2 years and retire while all the boomers are sad and the bankers are behind. All this and more on today's Blockchain Basement. Bum, 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 bum. You ready for this? I'm ready. Welcome.
If you're gonna screw me, at least pull my hair.
Hell yeah. What you got?
They could start chopping off fingers. They're like, give me your seed phrase, but I don't know it.
Out to give the numbers out. And I was like, no, hang up the phone right now.
Or like when it dropped in 2020, was it like exciting?
400,000 to 600,000. The generational signals are now.
Level. So I don't even know if we're gonna get back below there, but if we do, that's kind of where we
All right, welcome in, basement dwellers. Drew did not get the memo that it was Black T-shirt day, but we're gonna have a really, really good show for you guys today. Have the one and only Frankie Candles joining us. Tyler Durden has been a mod of the channel on Frankie Candles and with BitBoy for a very, very long time. One of the Bit Squad, one of the basement dwellers. We love it when we have one of our own here in studio, here for a visit. So thank you for joining us today. And of course, as always, all of you guys, Manawalk, Buckslayer 4x4, Crimson Caravan Company, Tony D, Shredder Slice, Buckslayer 4x4, The Deadwood, Servando Estradada, TJ's Chicken Salad, The Thumbnail Investor, which, by the way, shout out, BJ was involved with the creative process of the thumbnail today. So the Thumbnail Investor probably invested in this thumbnail. We've got Shake and Bake Moho, Chemistry Bro, Rand San Miguel, Fluffy the Sheep, Big Daddy, Zayas, and many, many more. We love all of you guys. Shout out to you guys that are in the Discord. I know some of you guys are watching it live in the Discord right now. We are working on different ways to pull in audio. I know, like, for example, Uncle Tinfoil Hat, I mentioned on Tuesday that him and I were talking about Shade Protocol. I think it'd be really cool in the future. Like, hey, come on up. We'll pull you into the show. Tell us what you think about Shade Protocol. Tell us why you're excited about it. Obviously, it's a privacy project. he's done all this research on it, he could kind of give us the TLDR live on the show. I think that'd be really fun if we start incorporating that through the Discord. So BJ's working on it. We're live in there right now. We're going to figure out the audio routing here in the future. Also, I know a lot of you guys have claimed the Blockchain Basement NFT. It's free to claim. Just have to cover the gas fee. You do have to be a member of the channel or a member in the Discord from some capacity supporting us somehow. It's not really a money maker, but it's just to show, who's part of this all together. I mean, I paid basically almost $9,000 out of my pocket just to get the smart contract done, the website done, all of that sort of stuff. But I think it'll be cool as time goes on to know who was here at the beginning, who was supportive of the channel at the beginning. Because we'd like to, maybe give some of that back as time goes on. We'll see. Who was feeling really good yesterday? I was really bummed that I wasn't here yesterday to do the show. You were on the show yesterday. Nick hosted the show yesterday?
It was a really good show. We talked about just, how all these, I think it was Citadel. That was yesterday.
1 second, real quick. BJ, could you give Chemistry Bro mod status? He said he transferred.
I was about to.
Okay.
Chemistry Bro.
I wanted to make them answer a very random trivia question, but okay.
Well, do you have the trivia question?
No, you already bypassed it.
Okay, all right, sorry. Go ahead, Drew.
Oh yeah, we were just talking about BlackRock taking on, this. It was just so ironic that they're working with Coinbase while the SEC is going after Coinbase. But we just kind of rehashed how these large banks are, kind of going all in. I was kind of being overly zealous on it, but I just felt like it was super bullish to see these massive companies moving in while everyone's running. It's just the rinse and repeat cycle of push the sheep out of the good stuff and gather it for yourselves. So I see these banks doing this to backstop their potential insolvencies, kind of reassuring themselves by being associated with heavier returning assets, since they've really gotten shellacked to be shellacked on the commercial real estate side, but then also previously in ESG initiatives, which the narrative for ESG is just crumbling. There's channels all over the internet that are really digging into it and showing not only all the agendas. 2023 or the Agenda 30 and then Agenda 50 now. So it's getting popular and it's dying on the vine, and I'm here to see it. Yeah,
I'm really glad you mentioned the commercial real estate thing, because I was starting to put that together as well. We've been covering a lot of the unrealized losses that banks have on their balance sheet right now. They know they're going to have to realize those losses at some point. So it's a matter of, and you want to minimize them as much as you can, but they're on timelines. So if you can get massive growth and then you can use your unrealized losses for tax advantages, as long as you can replace that somewhere else. So now for banks, it was an issue because they're losing deposits at a very fast rate and they have really big unrealized losses, and that's what makes the scary combination. However, if these larger banks can get set up with a new revenue stream, new depositors, new transactions, if you're looking at these ETFs, you're talking hundreds of millions, potentially billions of dollars in management fees. That's like what Grayscale has been clearing. I think it's a couple $1 billion annual revenue. So if you can pick that stuff up, then you're very happy to realize those losses, cover your taxes, and then you can stay in business. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because that is part of what we're seeing. That's part of the big shell game that a lot of the banks are playing right now. So I did want to say shout out to Joe. I did notice you in the chat. Really appreciate having you guys in there. And smash the like button if it's more fun for Bitcoin price to go up than it has been to watch it go down, right? Like I caught myself yesterday. I was like, I just kept refreshing. I was like, man, Bitcoin's at 26, man. Bitcoin's at 27, man. It's pushing 28, man. It's pushing 29.
It's fast moving.
I did see somebody in the chat. Where did it go? I want to call this guy out. We got a resident bear in here somewhere. It's basically said 30,123 is the high for the year, which I don't know if he's joking or not. It is plausible, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. I do want to hear from Frank on some of the levels on the TA side of thing. We got to take advantage when we got the chart master in the house. So before I tell you too much about what I expect, well, I'll give you the price right now. Here you go. We're at 30,000 coming in. I did want to look at the dominance. It's saying 50,000 right here. It did tick over to 51 on certain charts. I saw Benjamin Cowan share that, so I'm sure he's really happy. Powell today in the hearing really trying to say that it wasn't a liquidity or capital restraint issue, was a management issue to try to make it seem like it's not the Fed's fault for all the tightening. Interesting. So, Bitcoin price coming in right at 30,000 right now. It was over 30,000 earlier. I think it pushed as high as like 30,000.
30,800.
Yeah, it was going up there. Now this is just obviously 6 on CoinMarketCap, which is just an aggregate. But Ethereum coming in 1864, balling on a budget. Welcome to OG status. Let's see, Cardano 9%. Let's just look real quick. But I did want to point this out, guys. I did feel pretty vindicated with all of the preaching I've been giving you guys about putting your stack into Bitcoin and Ethereum right now, and that being, trending up. We did have some alts. I know block stacks did really well. Optimism did well, but that not compared to what they got crushed not that long ago. So Bitcoin and Ethereum still great places to be. Yeah, so you got some alts that are moving, but if you go look at the month over month, so I was curious about this. So Optimism,
$3.
yeah, Optimism up 24% for the week, but if you go to the month, still dramatically down. Yeah, way down on where it was price wise. So you want to keep that in mind when you're looking at a lot of this stuff, and it's definitely down compared to where it was against Bitcoin. So, and I'm like, hey, I want alts to do well too, but again, I still think you're going to do best in this part of the cycle right now. I also feel there's a little bit of hype around these ETFs that it's going to fade a little bit as time goes on, and they're not going to get approved overnight. But all right, Frank, let me see what you got. Bring us some sauce.
All right, here we go. So if you guys could probably guess what I'm going to show you, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. So something we've been looking at on my show for quite some time, and there we go.
That looks unreal.
Look at her go. I talked about this on the morning show on the BitBoy Crypto channel. I kind of want to just go over that real quick. The reason why we were expecting a decent move to the upside, again, potentially, kind of the first level I was watching was this value area high at about 28.7. Some exchanges are showing it at 29K, but kind of the reason why I was looking at this level, guys, is because once we got above this value area low down here, basically, I mean, this is textbook volume profile, right? Like we broke above this value area low. Once you get above this level, all you're looking for is to flip it to support, which it doesn't always work out this cleanly. Volume profiles work way more than they don't. But this just happens to be like one of the cleanest volume profile setups I've ever seen. And this was exactly what we were looking for. We were looking to break that value area low, flip this level to support. And then once you're able to do that, it opens up the door to potentially make it up, or likely make it up to your point of control, which wasn't that far away in this case. And then you are eventually expecting to come up to your value area high, which did wind up happening. We did get caught up slightly at that value area high, but now we flip that to support, and now we are just continuing to rip. So the only reason I bring that up is if you guys are not using volume profiles, please, for the love of God, learn them. I have content on my channel. If you don't like my content, go find it somewhere else. It is one of the most powerful trading tools you could possibly find. And that's basically what we were looking for on top of the higher daily time frame. So value area low got flipped to support. We were looking up to the value area high. And then if you come up to some of these higher time frames, not only did we get that weekly green dot with money flow starting to come up, this was another really, really big bullish signal we've been watching for a few days, indicating that we may get that move. And then if really what I was looking at is, right, like I've been saying this, like I'm the weird trader. Everyone's like, the weekly looks great. I'm like, have you seen the 6 day? Have you seen the 5.5 day? But really the 6 day is what I was looking at. Money flow beautifully coming. Like this is what you want on money flow, is just consistently curving to the upside. And then as we got this crossover, we had this tiny little trigger wave, and a lot of times with these tiny little trigger waves, they can cause absolute, big moves to the downside, especially if you have a big anchor wave, right? I don't want to get say any words that YouTube might not like, but you could kind of picture this as a handle. And then you might have something like this where your trigger would sit. And then maybe you have like some kind of long barrel type thing. This is a horrible drawing, but I think you guys get the point. What happens when you pull that trigger is typically you see a big move to the upside. And I looked at this on my live stream last night.
Zoom in on that.
I made this exact kind of example. And I said, what happens when you pull the trigger? Bang, you come to the upside. And it literally just happened perfectly. And
then you have a baby.
And yeah. But yeah, this is... This is honestly the next major level of resistance that I'm looking at, guys. Obviously, this wick.
This is the 6 day?
Yeah. This is the 6 day, yeah. This wick up here.
Like Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
This wick right here at about $31,100 is likely to give us some kind of resistance. But if honestly, we've broken the 786 at this point, and I would expect some more upside potentially, especially in the longer term. Like this 6 day is just getting started. If it is going to play out, next major level to the upside I will be looking at is between $32,800 and $33,000. And because we broke that 786, I do think, especially with the way the 6 day and the weekly look, it is likely that we could probably get there.
Yep, very good. I like that. Thank you. And Chemistry Bro said the bullish structure, the bullish structure of that pullback and bullish retest of the 25K highs from earlier in the bear market is nice to see, which I agree. I know a lot of people were talking about that. I'm sure you were talking about it a ton on your channel. We were kind of sitting right on that support for such a long time. A lot of people say, oh, if we lose, 25.2, if we lose 25 even, it's, a long way to fall from there. We could be going all the way back down to 22 to 20, which obviously on a technical level, that makes sense. Then you do lose it and you see the market quick respond. That is a very strong bullish confirmation, in my opinion. And seeing a lot of other long-term, veteran crypto traders, obviously looking at very similar levels to what Frank was just looking at, especially on the longer time frames when you can see the dailies and the weeklies structure starting to flip more bullish. That's very encouraging. Still within my same thesis for the year, 28K, not a surprise. Now probably come back down, retest that, maybe hang out there for a little while, maybe stay between 28 and 32, which is where he's talking about. But I wouldn't be shocked if we, in the next 6 months or so, we lose a little bit of this hype. We get some more scary news around SEC stuff.
Couple ETFs will get denied.
We'll see. I think a lot of people, I shared, and it's too much to watch on this, but if you guys are in the Discord, I shared, or you can just go to Twitter. Documenting Bitcoin is a pretty good Twitter page. I'm pretty sure I don't know if I put it in TJ's Alpha. I could put it in the general chat in the Discord as well. It's about a 10 or 15 minute long clip from Pomp talking with a couple people about the differences between, people hear I trust ETF, they hear, Grayscale, they know it's a trust and they're applying for an ETF. What's the difference? There's really not a lot of different on the retail side of things. Death Burka. Yeah, I'm definitely still here. I'm part owner, so I can't really go anywhere even if I wanted to. So, definitely not going anywhere. But, anyway, all of you guys should watch that as a pretty good little breakdown. And the point he was making was the reason why we saw so many follow-up ETFs is not only BlackRock seems like they've got the structure figured out. Most likely, he kind of explained, how and why they would file for this, and they wouldn't really do it unless they knew basically it was going to get approved. Once every other fund manager sees BlackRock doing it, you want to be right in that first batch of approvals because they're all going to get reviewed at the same time if they're more or less the same. And so basically what this guy was saying is like, if I'm running a fund, if I'm a fund manager and you see BlackRock put their application in, regardless of what your plan was before, you're going to want your application in at the same time as theirs. So you're going to, like he predicted, 6+, which we saw, what was that? Was it Tuesday or when? That was yesterday, Wednesday. We saw 6+ roll out. Wait, today's Wednesday, right? Tuesday. Yeah. We saw 6+ roll out on a Tuesday. He was saying we could see as many as 12. There probably was several other ones that we didn't even hear about. I think Wisdom Tree was the last one I heard of. And it went from trillions of dollars down to billions of dollars. There's probably several out there managing hundreds of millions that we weren't even aware of. More or less, the main difference between this is the access and the openness between what Grayscale is. Grayscale being more or less a private fund and all traded over the counter. What that does is it means the price can deviate further from the actual underlying asset's price. Like Bitcoin, for example, because it's all private and you got to get those deals done and there's discounts. Whereas if it's all happening in real time, people can arbitrage that price right back because the price stays much closer to that underlying asset price. It was pretty interesting hearing them explain the difference between most ETFs and commodity ETFs and ones that are specifically designed for a specific commodity, like they referenced GLD, obviously gold, which was interesting. Yeah. A lot of people know BlackRock is, they're known for ETFs and they pretty much own the ETF market. I think he said something like 30 or 40%, I think it was, of all ETFs are managed by, or ETF volume is managed by BlackRock, and another 20 or 30 by Vanguard, which we know are the same thing. So Vanguard BlackRock pretty much owns and manages all of what the ETF business is. So it's pretty interesting to see all of this stuff rolling out. I think what's going to happen is we're going to see a lot of this hype, a lot of these filings. It's become very real to a lot of old money, a lot of institutional money that takes time to position and get rolled out. And we're going to see the result of it really in 2024. Right before the show, Owen was asking, is this the bull market? I'm like, this is
sweet summer child.
Well,
It
it is technically because since November is the bottom. Shout out to Savvy and all the other bears out there calling for 3K.
Where you
all
at?
the people saying we wouldn't see above 20. I saw that screenshot you took.
Yeah.
You said, screenshot this. We're never going to see above 20K this year. It's like, okay, well here we are.
Bad call.
I'm going to leave that one alone though. The Bears have enough to cry about. Most of the Bears, guys. If you guys haven't realized this, anybody who's a perma bear in this space, they're generally they're not the happiest people, so they got enough to deal with. So we'll just let them, let them deal with their thing.
Don't kick them while they're down.
No, they'll be back. They'll be back in 2026 when the price is going down again.
I told you guys
It doesn't
3K
make
was coming.
sense to like bash on people that think the price is going up. Like the volatility is like why I enjoy, on top of like the sovereignty aspect of crypto, the volatility and having a chance to having a really aggressive way for my savings account or what was fiat to act for me, rather
That's
than
right.
just surely devaluing over the years and watching that melt through my hands like ice cubes in my hands. I'd rather have it trying to do work
Ice
for
cubes
me.
don't melt steel beams.
That's true.
Yeah, where is that
That's
tweet?
true.
I saw that same tweet, Chemistry Bro, and I did pull that up. It's not in my rundown here today, but I'm going to find that too, because basically, there was some really good stuff. Maybe you guys used it yesterday, because I think I was pulling a lot of it yesterday about running some numbers on if Fidelity was to put 0.3% of their funds into a BT, like what that would do to the price.
No, we need to find that. I don't think we pulled that up yesterday.
I'll find it real quick, but give me a sec. Let me get somebody else talking, and then I'll go look for it. So, here we go. So this is a nut. I agree with this from Tyler S. It's 100. It's all 100% clear now. This will be the first BTC bull cycle that will be heavily reinforced by the traditional finance elite. They want your fees, they want your money, and crypto entering a new bull market is the best opportunity to achieve this. There will be a new bull market, and it will be the largest we've seen by far. And this is the feeling I've had for, I've been saying this for quite some time and really seeing it start to play out right now. I agree with this 100%. I think the bull market we're going to experience through 2024 and 2025 is absolutely going to blow people's expectations away. It will shock people. People that have now adjusted to diminishing returns, people that now think 100,000 is a successful bull market from here. Like, if we just 5x from here or 4x, I guess it's not even 4x anymore, but 5x from 20K is where I was thinking. But, I think we're gonna blow away 200,000. I think we're setting up to have one of the most insane bull markets we've experienced, or really maybe even that double top where we run up into early 2024, like into the halving, we get a decent run up, which I don't see the odds of that being really high. But then what I think will happen early 2024, we get the ETFs actually trading and operating, followed by regulatory clarity, followed by, they're talking about stable coins right now being seen as money. So I think we're going to get the stable coin clarity this year, the SEC, what is the security and what's not a clarity early 2024, ETFs approved before, either in or before Q1 of 2024, Bitcoin halving in April, dollar printing, liquidity of injection for for election cycle, all, you're going to have a perfect storm of inflation and and cut in emission of Bitcoin and more access in demand on Bitcoin than ever before. I think it's just really going to blow a lot of us away, and you guys we're all going to be very happy. I mean, I was kind of joking at the very beginning when I said we're all going to get rich in the next few years, but if you're investing hard in Bitcoin and Ethereum right now, and you're educating and researching yourself and putting as much as you can into this right now through the next year, I think you're going to be very, very happy in 25 and 26. So that's just my 2 cents. And I agree with this. This is another thing Tyler S was saying, kind of goes right with it. Telling people to stay completely out of Bitcoin right now is reckless, which I could make the argument, doing that in 2019 was the same, or even 2020. No, 2021, I could tell people to hedge their bets and wait for the bear market, I think was good advice. But even if there's a chance that new lows will happen, if you say you're a bear, even if you think we could retest 10 or 12, which some people still do, I'm not one of those people, and you're telling your audience to stay completely out of the markets for that teeny tiny small chance, less than a year before the next halving, as the Fed slows its rate hike campaign, as institutional interest begins returning at a larger capacity than anything we've ever seen, and you're telling your audience to stay completely out of crypto because you sold and want your audience to as well,
Right.
That's reckless. That's extremely reckless in my opinion. So
That's ignorant.
And the macro has been so bearish,
Right.
like beyond all of that, like, the whole world's been, up in this uproar, either with civil unrest happenings in Sri Lanka, what's going on across the world. Like there's been a lot of bad news, like the hint of peace. If you get a hint of peace and quantitative easing combined, not to mention what ExxonMobil and all those other energy companies might do in response to the White House's request for that capturing of methane gas flares, this could be nuts. But it is wired to my brain. Like I'm expecting. I don't know. I'm really caught up on if I'm expecting it to kind of only hit the 120, 140 mark, or if we could see that 200, but I can just stick to the time frames and feel more comfortable kind of just going by the halving and the overall four-year cycle essentially is where I'm trying to reel myself back to.
Yeah, well, I would say I did a video a few weeks ago about I think the thumbnail was like bull market confirmed ? And I dig into the cycles, and it's crazy how close we are to 2019. Like it is almost to the day. Like we are in the same exact spot in the cycle, and it's almost playing out exactly the same. But really, what was making me feel bullish was like Drew just said, like everything's falling apart, right? Like the sky is falling down for crypto. You get Binance and Coinbase getting sued. Bitcoin bounced on the Coinbase news. Like that is one of the most bullish things you can have. When you have Bitcoin bouncing on super bearish news like that should have nuked the market completely. When you get bounces on bearish news like that made me really comfortable with that video that I put out. Because when I put that video out, I was like, God, I hope this thing does not dump after this. But I recommend you guys go watch that video. And real quick, somebody said, isn't Frankie a perma bear? I want to clear that up. No, I'm definitely not a perma bear. I'm a perma bull. But I think what they're referring to is every time it dumps, I happen to be a little extra giddy. But that's just because I short a lot, right? And like short money comes in really fast. I always say, I don't know if it's because gravity's on your side or not. But no, I am a perma bull. I've been buying. I said on my stream the other day, like, guys, I want to be fully transparent. Like I told my family this, like I'm aggressively buying right now. Like I'm not waiting for lower prices. I've been saying, like I think it is way more likely than not that 15.5 is the bottom. But also not getting super euphoric on the pumps either. So I think things do look good, but I just try to keep emotions out of it.
No, I mean, I think that's smart. I mean, obviously you're a seasoned trader. You got to remove your emotions from it. And I don't want people to get too euphoric either, because this is huge news. This is going to change everything, and we're going to feel the impact of it really a year from now more than we're going to feel it right now. I think a lot of people, a lot of this institutional money, they need to build. What we're experiencing, this little move, is them figuring out the best way to build into these positions without moving the market too much, because they need to get positioned.
And how much can they do that OTC?
It's very difficult, and that's and that's why what we're experiencing. I think that was what Chemistry Bro was just talking about. Here it is, right here. BlackRock has 10 trillion in assets under management. Fidelity has 4.5. This is talking about the two of them, those two major players. Which again, they're going to be offering this product to their clients. They need to get it, and so that way, when they offer their product to their clients make a ton of money, and they make the money with them. But basically, just 0.3% of their funds allocated to Bitcoin would buy every single Bitcoin currently available on exchanges. So to answer BJ's question, it would mean they would buy everything on Coinbase, everything on Binance, everything on Kraken, everything available on every exchange right now, just for 0.3% of their funds. Now they're going to want more than that because their clients are probably going to have a decent demand. Even conservatively, you could say 1%. So that leaves only over the counter, going to other whales, that sort of stuff. So now it's not going to happen overnight. Again, they're going to be trying to build into these positions. They're not going to go to Coinbase and say, "Oh, we want to buy all your available Bitcoin tomorrow," right? Because they know that means Coinbase has to ramp up their prices, and and then it changes the whole ecosystem. So
draw a lot of attention to it too.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, they're trying to do this. They knew this was going to be an attention getter when they filed an ETF, and they knew 10 were going to follow the next day. So everybody's focused on it right now. Everybody's attention is on Bitcoin as an asset right now. It will fade over the next 6 weeks. And say we pump into the 30s. Maybe we go retest 32. Maybe we don't. Maybe 28 support breaks down and we fall right back into that 25 to 28 range. That would not shock me at all to see us still near 30K April of next year, near the time of the halving. So I just want you guys to keep in mind, don't think we're just going to run all the way from here. It could get really bullish and the market could turn, and all these, nation states could be trying to position at the same time that institutions are trying to position. But my prediction is they're gonna be slow building into this, and then it's gonna be happen gradually, and then suddenly it's gonna feel like, oh man, they've been talking about these ETFs forever, and like if you've been in crypto for any period of time, we've been talking about the Bitcoin spot ETF narrative since 2017, or really since even before that, when they were the Winklevi very first filed. So nothing's really changing on my thesis. I'm still accumulating Bitcoin. I'm still accumulating Ethereum. Still waiting for the Bitcoin halving to see a lot of this stuff run up. So there you go. That's what I got on that. Moving on. Oh, here we go. So this guy, I don't know who he is, Rager. This is about very similar to how I feel on just kind of what could be happening. If 25K is the new local bottom, I'd like to see something like this play out over the next year and a half. And this is basically what I was just describing. Uptrend over 30Ks, pullback, Bitcoin halving, front run rally, major pullback, last big dip before up only. Bull market uptrend starts mid to late 2024, new highs by 25. So this is just like, hey, let me see if I can pull this in so you guys can see those numbers. Yeah. Just drawing on a chart for fun, I'm sure he's got some levels to this, but really just kind of like all these squiggles in the middle are just generic. But this is kind of what we're experiencing right now. We're kind of right here in this part of it, testing in here. We could, and that's kind of what I'm saying, we reject off of it, fall back into this range for the rest of this year. So here we are going into 2024. You kind of get a pre-halving push, fall back into, again, back around 30K near the time of halving. So if the time of halving would be probably right around here, April, because I'm looking down here at the bottom, April 2024. And then boom, you're talking towards the end of 24, early 25, retesting 70K. And then, up and away, price discovery through 2025.
Exciting times.
And I really think, look, based on history, based on everything we're seeing, that's what I feel is very likely. See, Deathburger says, if we don't come back to test 25, I'm going to be big mad.
That's exactly
I am a perma-bear in that aspect. Like, go back down. I want to buy more cheap Bitcoin for sure.
Even if I've been doing everything I can, and I still don't feel like I've done enough. I want, because I've just seen what it's done for me in the past, and there's a lot of potential in this next coming bull run. These next few bull runs, I feel like, are where all the really good volatility is going to be, and that's where we'll have that really parabolic increase, because once it hits 500K to $1 million a piece, 15, 20 years from now, volatility is going to be gone. It's a lot harder to move a larger market, so that's where the fun's at.
Hey, can I jump in here real quick?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I was about to come to that. So we do have about 490 people watching right now. If you guys could smash that like button, the goal is we always like to get 420 likes. If all of you stop what you're doing right now, hit that like button, and we should get there. On mobile, just close out that live chat, hit like, and then you can open it right back up. But it's so funny. I was going to say, like, we got Tyler here. He hasn't said anything yet. So if you had anything to chime in on what we were just talking about, take it away, but also tell everybody a little bit about yourself, how you kind of discovered Bitcoin, and kind of what brought you to your first purchase.
Well, I was going to ask first, can we look at that chart just one more time?
Which chart?
The very last one.
What was it on? I might have closed it.
Oh, I don't know if you can.
No, I can pull it back up real quick, but
yeah, it was the one that was talking about going all the way. I was going to ask, how can we really trust someone who uses light mode?
Oh, light mode. I got you. Yeah.
It kind of takes most of the credential from right there.
No, 100%. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's my biggest issue with blockchain backers. Like, man, I don't know how you see that stuff, but no, good point. So
that's pretty crazy.
All right, so tell us a little bit about yourself. And pull that mic in a little bit, and then how you came into Bitcoin, what attracted you to it, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me. I just want to see some shout outs. We can see a lot of Candle Mafia in chat. Crypto Bro, Crimson Caravan, Death Burka. I don't know why we don't have more representation for Frank here in the chat tonight or today. But yeah, what drew me to Bitcoin? I came across it back in December of 17, right before it jumped up all the way to 20. Of course, we all know what happened. It came back down, and I thought, like everyone, just Bitcoin thing. It was cool, whatever, dead. And I'd kind of check in on it every so often and wouldn't really mess with it. I rediscovered it again towards the end of 2019, going into January and February, and I was just starting to really understand its philosophy and crypto's philosophy in general. That's kind of when I discovered Ben, come across a lot of other influencers on YouTube, and just kind of been in it ever since. Not too long after that, Frank started his channel, and I've been helping him out. If any of you are wondering about my credentials, I took a short from 26.8. So just in case anyone's wondering, yeah, like that, don't applaud, please don't applaud. But yeah, so if anyone's kind of curious, well, who's this guy? What's he got to say? That's what. That's pretty much my story right there.
No, very cool.
I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, of course. Anytime, we love having anybody from the Bit Squad or the Basement community, any of our communities here at Hit Network, and coming through. Don Frankie and his mafia, as IS says. Yeah, Tyler, thanks for all you do in Discord. Alaskan BTC says, yeah, I know you're extremely active in the Frankie Candles Discord.
Try to be flat smack.
Yeah, been really fun having you guys here. So appreciate you joining us. Real quick, this was just a fun thing. I don't know if this is, you guys have been talking about the inflation, but having fun with your fiat, I thought this was crazy. So in 1980, minimum wage $3.10. Big Mac was $50. So in theory, yeah, 50 cents ish. Yeah. So in theory, you were getting $6.20 an hour. Today, $7.25 minimum wage, $8 Big Mac. You're getting your buying power is 0.9% of a Big Mac in comparison.
0.9 Big Macs per hour.
Yeah, 0.9. Yeah. In about 40 years. So that's brutal.
Yeah,
that's brutal.
Do you guys have Popeye's chicken out here?
Oh yeah,
we do have Popeye.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Popeye's
I wasn't sure.
popular
From
here.
Texas, I don't know what's really out here.
From Texas, we're just starting to get Whataburgers. Like there's two here now.
I don't feel so bad then.
Or three,
but it was a few years ago, not too long ago. Popeyes was doing the 2-piece for like $1. It was like a thigh and a wing. And now it wasn't even that long ago, and now it's like $3 or $4.
Yeah.
So that's the index I follow in case that wasn't obvious.
Those are simple metrics, and it's like something that we've all experienced, but it's nice to just remind people about that. If they get curious about crypto, that's always where I start them on, is look at the buying power of fiat, which you're currently using. And then let them understand that very basic. You used to, like that graph showed, you worked for 1 hour, you could afford 6 Big Macs. Now, that's a lot of Big Macs per hour. Now you work that same minimum wage job and you're earning not even one. You're getting 0.91 of a Big Mac in the same buying power. So, starting people in that direction helps them kind of build a healthier foundation for their appetite for risk assets or speculative markets and things that are being newly introduced, because they're not sure bets. Like you will see some crypto projects that are on the list of top 100 today that will not be there by the time the bull run comes. So, it is a high risk, high reward type situation. But, if you can start with that very basic of what they're currently experiencing is sure. It's not even high risk. It is surely bad. And if you can show them that kind of example, then I think that builds a lot stronger of a mindset for the ups and downs of crypto volatility.
Absolutely. I did see somebody was asking if anybody in the basement's a fan of Sologenics. Do you know? I know what it is.
Yeah, it was like part of the XRP ecosystem, I believe.
Was it? Like securities on the blockchain, basically?
Oh, I thought that was the sequel to Gattaca.
Sologenic.
I have like $5 of Sologenics that came from somewhere. At some point in time, I had XRP on one of the exchanges and sent me it. I haven't paid much mind to it, honestly.
Yeah, it's tokenized securities on demand. Looks like they do stuff with ETFs and some of that stuff. So I don't know too much about it. I've heard of it. So I'd be interested if you guys do know more about it. Let us know. But I don't know too much about it.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Definitely a potential. I mean, if the XRP narrative, if XRP wins this case, Flare and Sologenics and all those things that are within that kind of ecosystem are going to rally hard. So keeping that in mind, that's a great reminder for someone. Like I had someone before the show started remind me about my Pi tokens. And now I'm all excited because it looks like I do have the ability I took my Pi tokens onto my wallet. They were automatically transferred. And now I'm going to see, I think it's Huobi, that is an exchange that is listing Pi. So I'm going to go just do a test transaction, see if it's there. I don't feel like I'm going to sell the Pi tokens right now, because this is the thing I could just take the few $1,000s right now, or I can just take the chance that the Pi network is a thing in the next bull run, and it's even just keeping the lights on, and then it receives that trickle down effect once Bitcoin does what it does, and everyone's looking for these new speculative projects to make a bigger entry and a higher chance of upswing. So
yeah. All right, this is a really good.
Wait.
I got.
I'm doing things.
Okay. So you can't change the camera. We got to keep talking.
I
Drew.
will.
I was looking at his thing.
Don't
What is he
worry.
doing? This is going to get
Don't
awkward.
worry about it.
All right, so-
all right, I'm ready, TJ.
Okay, I was just gonna pull something from the chat. I thought Sack Nasty 86 is a really good question, good place to transition because I do want to talk about altcoins here a little bit. He said, "When is an altcoin considered dead?" And I kind of want to hear from you guys, and then I'm going to throw out a couple examples, and then we're going to go from there. I don't know if I just messed up what you were trying to do, BJ.
No, I'm ready for the Warren thing.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Oh, this one.
So what?
Yes.
What constitutes a crypto project
Yeah.
being
Okay.
dead?
So let me, for example, here, because I do want to talk about a little. We're looking at altcoins.
Yeah.
That, I keep saying wait for the halving, or at least accumulate close to the time of the Bitcoin halving, because you'll know much better what the narrative is right before things become bullish. We have also pointed out a lot of the coins from previous that have been the best performers from previous cycles aren't the best performers in the new bull cycle. Now, when does it actually become dead? I think is a really tough question to answer. So
I feel like once the liquidity is below the launch liquidity, it's probably dead.
yeah,
Because
that's
there's
good.
less money than what they started with.
That's a good way to. That's a good way to. That's a good metric, even though it's still alive and act. Something could happen with it, but it's not. Yeah, I think that's actually a really good metric of a way to look at it.
It's cool. I'll be here tomorrow too.
What's tough though is when I think really where you run into it is with much. Somebody says when the Discord said with huge projects. So like is EOS. Now let's go look. It's probably still got several $billion.
I don't want to get blood on my bad side.
Let's see.
Okay,
Where
we're
is it?
looking at
Where
We
is
did
it?
this.
Oh,
we were
man.
talking about EOS separately, just about this very thing. Like, is it going to
Man,
exist?
it's gone a lot further down than I thought it had.
Had it? It was one that I held
the heck
during
is
the
it?
last market that really didn't perform that.
No, it didn't.
Anything
It was
near what
it
I
was
thought
a
it would.
huge ICO in. Let's see. So now it's all the way down to.
Oh wow!
Oh, dear. Oh,
Oh,
no.
dear.
My fat fingers.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's brutal. So you can't. You guys, there you go.
There it
You can
is.
see it there. But
Kind of to his point though, it's below its original liquidity level. I mean, it's
no, this is not the original liquidity level. That's
Oh,
just
okay.
it's just at its all time low.
I remember my
basically.
first time looking at charts too, Drew.
Another one that I would throw in there would be like Tron. There's still activity. It's still, it's got a $6.5 billion market cap, but it could potentially recover and pump. Now, it obviously, here's what it did on launch. Man, it did do pretty well in 2021, didn't it? And now it's down here pretty good. So and then so the question I had is, so we got somebody here that's a big ape guy, Journey Crypto. He's saying he'll continue to buy ape on big dips. Why? Because it's basically the equivalent of gold in World of Warcraft, but with actual real world utility. The bigger other side gets, the more people will be using it. And this is kind of one of those ones that could be in that, it's obviously Bored Ape Yacht Club did really well. NFTs kind of had peak volume they'd ever had. It launched at the top, a lot of hype around it. Yes, it's a cool game, but it's huge speculation. What's more likely? Do people want to speculate on something new that has an undetermined upside, or something that people are starting to understand, where it could go? This is a tough one for me. Now metaverse isn't necessarily a niche that I'm accumulating. I like layer 2s. I like self-custody perpetual dexes, smart contract platforms. But if you are looking at metaverse, I think this is a, kind of a leading
Indicator.
not indicator, like leading the market share. They're the number one in this space right now. So do you go with number one in the niche that you're looking at, or do you try to accumulate what you think might close the gap in the future? I don't know. It's a tough discussion. What do you think, Frank, on how do you determine a dead project?
It's kind of hard to say. For me,
Not saying ape is dead, by the way.
yeah, no. For me, it's obviously going to have a lot to do with looking at the chart. I could see a chart and people like, hey, is this ever going to come back to life? And pretty much pull up the chart and instantly tell them yes or no.
Yeah.
But for me, it's hard. I'll say this: Solana, everybody thinks Solana's dead. I do not think.
Great example.
Yeah, I personally, listen, I could be wrong. I do not think Solana's dead.
I don't think so either.
And listen, I don't know if it's going to go back to all-time highs. Maybe it does, but it's definitely not dead, right? It's gotten pumps off the bottom. Maybe I was just hoping my Solana bag comes back to break even at least. But no, I don't think Solana's dead. I like what you were just talking about, TJ. I think it's important to realize. I said this in a video that I just recorded. I haven't put it out yet. It's coming out on Sunday. But like a lot of these projects are, like you said, like this is all speculation of what these projects are going to be in their final form.
Right.
And, like when you're looking at things, like you have to take that into consideration. And I said this in the video, to assess your risk properly, right? Because, a lot of people, it's a lot of speculation, and it's even things that are in their final form. You could be speculating if you think it's going to take over the industry, but a lot of this stuff is like just people are making bets on this getting to its final form, right? Like take Ethereum, for example. Like a lot of people are betting on Ethereum improving and improving and improving. So you shout out to the resident ETH bear over here.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, I mean, for me, it would have to, it's hard. I would have to look at a chart to be 100% honest with you. But I would like to see that there's just zero volume is kind of where I would see if you
Volume's
see
a great indicator.
yeah, like if you see the volatility, that's what makes me think Solana's not dead, right? People are still trading Solana. People are still buying Solana. It's still moving. The chart is going up and down. So, when you see something dump to a super low price, like it doesn't even have to be zero. You see something dump and then just go flatline. That's kind of where I think a project.
And it being on Rust, I know I've said it a million times, it's still a fundamentally positive thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's still some interesting things to happen with Solana. So somebody else threw out a really good one, VGX, which is Voyager token. I think that's a good. It's like to Frank's point. Here you go. Here's one that
was that Picard that recommended that one.
Oh yeah,
really? No Star Trek fans? That just went over everyone.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Definitely. Star Trek. Well, never mind.
Yeah, it's the Walmart Star Wars. I know.
No, I was just gonna say a different generation a little bit, but
no, the next generation.
Yeah, there you go. That was good. That was a good one. That was a good one. But here you go. Voyager is kind of on that flatline level that Frank was talking about. They're gonna have a very exchange tokens did extremely well in bear markets because they had really strong utility, really strong reason for people to use, buy, trade them. Now, looking at the regulatory environment, it doesn't seem like there's too much. It feels like a pretty strong conflict of interest between an exchange and an exchange token. We've seen that time and time again. If they can't get it at least to a certain point of other utility and decentralization, they're not going to just let them use this as a huge asset on their balance sheet to loan and borrow against, because that's what caused the issue. Or that's one of the many things that caused several issues with FTT and FTX. So that's a good one to put into that category of probably not doing as well. Even KuCoin shares, like that was one when I first looked at it in 2017. I was like, okay, this makes sense to me. You're getting a teeny tiny piece of all of these altcoins that are getting traded on this platform. One of them's going to hit, but it just never seemed to work out. Somebody else asked about Flow. Flow is another interesting one. Strong project, strong use case, terrible tokenomics.
Definitely flowed downhill.
Yeah,
It does flow.
Exactly. Now, you look at it on the week, it's like, hey, look at that. It's doing really well. It's one of the top pumpers off of the bottom of this. It's Dapper Labs. I know, Tim Draper and those guys, very well connected within the space. Probably going to be a viable project. Probably not one to speculate on if you're trying to make returns on your investment. This is one that I would say interact within their ecosystem, play the games. But I mean, look at these market caps and total supply circulating. There is no max supply. You got what?
The supply stuff always is a stuff. It's always really hard to there's got to be a lot of hype if I'm moving in on a coin that's got an infinite supply.
Yeah.
That's a major red flag.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a major. I mean, Ethereum doesn't have Ethereum doesn't have a cap. A lot of coins don't have a cap. The difference is, look how little is distributed compared to, Ethereum doesn't have a cap, but it's mostly, here you go, I can just click right here. It's what?
I don't feel like I'm marrying it.
Yeah, you've got the full thing is circulating. So, so it's not like, oh, it's uncapped and there's, 89% of the supply still to be distributed by the team. So, yeah, there you go. So there's a little bit of a sidebar. Hopefully that answered some of those questions. So here, if you're looking for an altcoin for the 2020 for the future, a brand new one, extremely high risk. This is not my endorsement, but I just wanted to share this. This is one that I know you've been looking at this a decent amount. Johnny, if you guys hang out with Johnny J Childs 520, I believe it is. He's in the chat. He's in the Discord a lot. You guys, he's been on the show a couple times. This is one he's been. Again, proceed with caution. It's interesting. It is an algorithmic stablecoin. So if you got if you don't have PTSD from Terra, then you're probably very lucky. But if you do, then you shudder when you hear algorithmic stablecoin. So But it's interesting. They're using a basket of assets, all this different stuff. What are my thoughts on Kadena, Crit Cats? When I haven't looked at it in a long time. I did look at it in, I believe it was towards the middle or end of 2021. That, if I remember correctly, that was the hybrid proof of work, proof of stake.
I haven't looked at Kadena at all.
I think JP Morgan was involved with it pretty heavily, if I remember correctly. I can't remember. They all start to run together for me, Crit Cat, so I'll have to look back on that. But so Frax Finance is one that he's looking at. They announced a L2 hybrid roll up. It's the fourth biggest liquid staking derivatives, aimed to give more, Frax ETH, FXS. It's very complicated the way it works, in the sense that like you stake some of your ETH, or you lock up some of your ETH, and you're earning wrapped ETH and you're earning Frax, and there's different amounts. You could play with it. He's a big fan of it right now. He's been doing a lot of messing with it. I just wanted to share it with you guys. It's something we're looking at. It's designed as a layer 2 rollup, security provided with ETH mainnet. The network will be directed toward creating strong emphasis on decentralized finance. So again, think what Terra more or less was trying to do, really pushing DeFi forward. Has, again, algorithmic stablecoin caused a lot of problems with Terra. So
dominated the headlines for a while.
Obviously, this is gonna be the type of things that regulators absolutely hate, because it goes against their whole system. So, but it's interesting. They've, like I said, they use Frax ETH, Frax the stablecoin, and SFRX ETH for the transaction fees. The fees generated could be partly burned or distributed among the stakers of Frax governance token. Complete date for the network is the end of this year. So right now, it's on testnet. Frax chain essentially represents the culmination of the entire Frax ecosystem. Hybrid rollup consisting of both optimistic and ZK proofs, able faster transaction finality and decentralized sequencer capabilities. And then this, I'll retweet this one.
Caught up in a lot of narratives there. You got zero knowledge, you got layer 2, you got DeFi. Those are all going to be probably pretty big narratives for the next bull run. It's kind of a package of all of them.
Definitely. So to me, what's interesting with watching these projects, whether they succeed or fail, you can learn a lot about the core problems that are trying to be solved within DeFi right now. So the biggest issue we have, if you guys are prevalent within DeFi, is we've got a pretty strong issue with stablecoins. You've got to choose USDC, USDT, and they both have trade-offs. You're kind of choosing different government bodies, different banking relationships, and USDT, I'd say, is getting away from that a little bit more. USDC is obviously moving more towards regulatory friendliness. So that's one big problem to solve. And then governance within that. If you're going to use a basket of assets to back your stablecoin, which basket of assets? How do you select it? How do you regulate it? How do you balance it? Terra was a very fascinating experiment with solving a lot of that stuff, and they did have a fair level of success until they had a fabulous catastrophic collapse, like went down in a blaze of glory. And this could be the same thing, but it's fascinating, kind of to the point I was making a couple weeks ago about, economy. If you're into economies and game theory, and people like this, has to be fascinating to watch these things speed run out. And then, hey, if it works, hey, let's push it everywhere. If it doesn't, well, okay, we lost some money on that one. We'll try over and start again. So,
but wasn't Terra avoidable? Wasn't he warned?
Yeah, he was warned. I mean, basically, that's what I'm saying. People could look at some potential attack vectors within this and see it. So it wasn't avoidable in the sense that, like it's just straight like, a bug in the code that could be exploited. It was more like, hey, if there's an attack vector here where if you get enough money together and you do a coordinated attack, you're longing this asset and shorting this asset. There's a lot of money to be made by wiping this out. And if there's enough money to be made there, somebody's going to do it. And it all comes down to incentives. So that's what's so beautiful about Bitcoin right now is there's really not a huge incentive for destroying the network or for gaining access and controlling the network and using it for your own good, because once you do that, then it kind of destroys the value of it. So it creates a negative feedback loop into where you're disincentivized from attacking it because the cost far outweighs the reward. Where with Terra, the cost was fairly, minimal to big money people, but it's a lot to us. You're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, but not billions. So so for $300 million, we have the potential to net $6 billion. All right, let's play those incentives out and see how that works out. And that's more or less what happened with Terra. And then the real damage that came was the resulting unwind of everybody else who got caught with their pants down, way over leveraged in Terra, which was the 3 Arrows Capitals, the Alamedas, the Voyagers, and all the other big businesses that were all wrapped up in Terra that got greedy. And then when it went bust, it all kind of fell apart real fast.
Yeah.
So, Jalisa, welcome to OG Status. Welcome to have you.
Did you see
It's
Jerome
pronounced
Powell?
Alisa?
Jerome Powell came out just a bit ago seeing stable coins as a form of money.
Yes, I did hear that. Jerome Powell, that was actually right before we went live, said he does recognize stablecoins as a form of money. So like I said, what that does, it puts the pressure on their stablecoin regulation. They've said it a bunch. They want to get that done first. I think it will be done before the end of this year. Once that's done, I think they will set the rules. Again, they only have 120 days to respond to Coinbase as far as the rulemaking goes for what's a security and what's not, what they can list, what they can't. So I think by 2024, exchanges have regulatory clarity and a green light, and we're going to really be seeing some fun after that.
Well, and then Patrick McHenry, the U.S. Congress, is set up to form regulation from a U.S. House Oversight Committee standpoint in July. So they're actually looking to beat the punch, it looks like, the House Committee and Congress. But, we'll see how fast, if that hurries up the SEC's response to Coinbase.
I think what that does is it ramps up the pressure.
Yeah.
It puts a lot of pressure on them to do it. This is something
Well, it also scares people out almost to the halvening as well. So that's relevant
exactly
as well.
Yeah, they're going to be dragging it out as long as they can. And like I said, they know what they're doing, and they're going to be building those positions right now. So the longer they can keep people at bay, and the media is going to be as scary and negative as ever between now and April of next year. It's going to be scary, recession, save your money, don't invest in anything. And then all of a sudden, oh, don't worry, it's all coming back. Economy's getting better. Everything's great in 2024. We're cutting rates, liquidity's coming into the market, stocks are going up, everybody's going to be happy again. And then you're going to experience that continued high prices of everything through the next couple of years. So, should I get a semen mug if I want to have a baby, TJ? Astrotone, that would definitely help. That would definitely help.
Financial advice. Fertility advice.
Fertility advice. Yeah, I was going to, if you drink it though, you won't have a baby. That's
speaking of fertility. Don't you have that awesome thing you were going to show me with Elizabeth Warren?
Where'd it go? Yeah, I will.
I need to be able to do this.
Yes. So okay. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
that's so terrifying.
It's the same vibe.
I'll tease it. I'm gonna. This is actually. This right here, this picture and this image, like Elizabeth Warren telling Gary Gensler, all right, sue the exchanges. BlackRock and Citadel are ready to make their move. It brought me to, and Nick and I were talking about this while we were eating beforehand. The kind of the reality of like if you're picturing Gary Gensler or like the reality of what a job would look like. Hey, you're working this whole career, you're trying to get into this cushy position, and if you think about his predecessors like Hinman and then the guy before Hinman. It's a pretty cushy job. All you got to do is you get up there and you make sure the people that are in the club are making plenty of money and nobody's messing with their stuff. If you get a call from one of the bros that, hey, we need a rule over here or we need this case thrown out or whatever, you get it taken care of. But for the most part, you're just, you're living your life, you're having a good time. And then like Hinman starts to experience, oh, wait a minute, now we've kind of got an old guard and a new guard. We've got these guys that have been running things and paying my bills for a long time. Now we got these new guys that are willing to pay a lot more. Well, let me talk to them a little bit. And then he takes a check from the new guys on the way out and leaves it all in Gary Gensler's lap. Says, all right, here, you got to figure this out. And it creates a whole, and Gary, probably unbeknownst to him, didn't realize he was walking into a war between the old guard and the new guard, between the old banks and the new banks. It's just interesting if you think about it from more of a personal perspective rather than kind of a global macro, evil government, whatever. It's probably just very much, okay, now he's stuck in the middle of a hard place. They're telling him, all right, time for you to sue Coinbase and Binance. He's like, I can't sue Coinbase and Binance. We don't have a case. Like, we're going to look like idiots. And they're like, well, it's your job. You want to keep getting your check? Go sue them. Your job is to slow them down. And so that they're stuck dealing with all this litigation while we get the clear path and get registrations and the license set up so we can just eat their lunch when it comes to business. Because big money's ready to come in now. And We don't need it all to go to Coinbase. We've worked it out in the back with Coinbase. They're going to be custodying our stuff, so we paid. They're getting their piece of the deal.
Right.
Slow them down, and we're gonna make the big money. And like it really feels like that's what's going on. And then Gensler's just like, all right, I'll take these lawsuits, and as long as I follow my marching orders of suing the right people, even if I lose and get made fun of and embarrassed, I get what's promised to me, which is whatever, chairman of the Fed or head of the finance committee, whatever it is, the next kind of step up in his career is.
He had to have known that Ripple was hooked up with FedNow.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's no way that Hinman didn't know he was leaving a mess in Gary Gensler's lap. And it's like, it really struck me of like, imagine kind of when like the old guard when it comes to the tobacco industry, and now the new guard that is the cannabis industry. And the money and all this new money is coming up, and you've got, hey, all these guys, we've got a whole new set of, people that are trying to get a seat at this table, and the people that have been sitting at the table for a long time trying to keep them out. But it's like, hey, there's too much money at this point.
Yeah.
Like, we got to let them in.
Yeah.
And so you either need to change what you're doing, and that's what we saw. Obviously, big tobacco did end up absorbing most of what was the up and coming cannabis industry, and it's now more or less handled and managed largely by the same players that had the same land and all that same type of stuff. We're going to see this similarly with banking. They're not just going to let the people that have been monitoring and managing and running a lot of the financial transactions for the last couple hundred years are not just going to be like, all right, yeah, sure, let's let the internet bros take care of it from here. We're ready to retire anyway. It's like, no, they want their kid to do it. It's like, hey, Sonny, like, you haven't been paying attention. Now, like our empire is under attack. You need to get out there and buy, you need to own all these crypto exchanges before, they start messing with the BlackRock or the BNY Mellons or, whatever. So it was just, I don't know. It was interesting to think of it that way, because I think that's probably closer to reality than, a big dossier that's being circulated. I mean, there's probably is some coordination. We know Operation Choke Point 2.0 was real. It was a dossier that was circulated, but who, when, why, where, I think it all has a lot more to do with personal motivations than a macro scheme to, enslave us all. I think they all want us enslaved.
The thought process they were entrenched in, right? And the change is always scary. So especially if and you're losing control of money flow, which is where the real power in this world is derived from. If the power of money flow is taken away, your power to govern is gone. So. And the U.S. lost that when we created the Federal Reserve. So let's change it.
William Carney says you guys should make a blockchain basement members only jacket. That'd be kind of cool. I don't wear those kind of jackets very much, though, right?
Yeah, you do.
He will.
Literally, your go-to jacket is borderline members only.
Is it really?
Yeah. I'm trying to look. Is that like a bomber jacket?
Yeah. What is the members only?
Yeah, I guess a little bit. It'd be pretty plain.
I'm looking. These are members. I mean, these all look different.
Those aren't actual members only jackets.
All right,
I'm picturing a bomber jacket.
I love bomber jackets, so I'll go for that. So this is where the decentralized versus centralized / institutional battle really begins. Yeah, I agree. Where the battle is just getting started. I had some and we can talk about that. It's some interesting. Marty Bent, aka potential Satoshi, had some interesting theories about SBF and being a Fed. I think that's definitely a worthwhile thought process. I mean, a lot of people, you can make a case either way, but it does look very similar to it does have a very similar feel to creating the problem that they needed, especially if Sam ends up with not a lot of jail time, which so far it's looking like a lot of those things are getting dropped or at least pleaded down. So we'll see. We can talk about that maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday. I'll let you guys steal some of my good topics.
Hell
yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all we got, man. Shout out to all of you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us in the basement. We love all of you guys. Love having these conversations with you. Thanks for listening to my crazy crypto conspiracy theories. Chemistry Bro, Manawalk, Manly, Cryptoism, Crypto Anon, Karen, Shegwilla Harris, Zayas, DJ Flexa, Johnny Jackhammer, Uncle Tinfoil Hat, Darthman, William Carney, Granny's Garden, Mr. Techno Goody, G Fairies, The King Taco, Death Burka,
That's
all
a
of
nice
you,
name.
all of the rest of you guys, Crypto Cali Dude, Crypto Tim, Astro Tone, Ninja Glock, Crimson Caravan Company, William Carney, Scotty Swing, Danny Cabrera, Johnny Jones, RS Crypto, Mr. Techno Goody, Joe. We love all you guys. Please smash the likes on the way out. Stack up those Bitcoin. Do something nice.